And welcome back to the channel. We've got more daily NBA predictions here with the Wednesday, November 13th slate. Obviously, the NBA Cup was yesterday. You had some interesting results. I mean, I went on and completely crapped on the Portland Trailblazers yesterday. You know what they did? They didn't just cover the line against the Minnesota Timberwolves. They beat the Minnesota Timberwolves. So, I don't know what to say anymore, guys. But, you know, we were successful in a couple games. Shout out to the Hawks for beating the Celtics. That was unexpected. We easily got the Suns to cover against the Jazz, and we really liked the Knicks against the 76ers, and that came through for us as well. Now we get 11 games on Wednesday. Obviously, these games are not part of the NBA Cup, but still, there is picks to be made with all 11 of these games on the NBA slate. And folks, if you haven't yet, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more daily NBA predictions here on the channel. In about an hour's time, we will have our college basketball 5 best bets on the channel as well. So go make sure you check out that video again in an hour, as well as our college football predictions that were posted yesterday. The link is in the description down below. We'll have our NFL predictions out on the channel later today at about 5 p.m. Eastern. And then also our UFC 309 Jones versus Miocic predictions were already posted on the channel this past weekend. All right, let's get into the first of these 11 games. We start things off here in Orlando, Florida. You've got the Indiana Pacers going on the road to take on the Magic. We like the Pacers a lot in this spot. The Pacers are getting 2.5 on the road. We are fine playing that. Why? The Magic just played yesterday in an in-season tournament game where they beat the Charlotte Hornets. And sure, the Magic were once 3-6. They're now 6-6. They started to find their way without Paolo Banchero. We talked about it yesterday. Franz Wagner has stepped up in that role of primary scorer for the Orlando Magic. But now they take on a really good team in the Indiana Pacers. Guys, the teams the Magic have beat, since being 3-6, New Orleans, Washington, Charlotte, all at home. They do get the Pacers at home as well, but their last loss was on the road in the Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, Indiana, against the Pacers. And when you look at the Eastern Conference standings, the Eastern Conference standings are so weird because, okay, you've got the Cavs at 12-0, the Celtics at 9-3, and there is not a single other team right now in the Eastern Conference that is above 500. We will get one because of this game between the Magic and the Pacers. Somebody has got to be above 500, but it's insane. It's Cavs, Celtics, and nobody else is over 500. You got the 6-6 Magic, the 5-5 Knicks, the 5-5 Pacers, then the 5-6 Nets, the 5-7 Pistons, the 5-7 Hawks, the 4-6 Heat, the 4-7 Bulls. It's ridiculous. We like the Pacers in this game, though. Again, Indiana did not have to play yesterday. The Magic, had to play, a game where they did run away with it against Charlotte, but still they had to play an in-season tournament game. They had their guys playing extended minutes. I like the Pacers a lot in this spot. Finally, we got a really good game out of Tyrese Halliburton in his last one against the New York Knicks. I would think and I would hope that Tyrese the Winter Soldier would continue to ball out. If you know, you know. I'm taking the Winter Soldier and the Indiana Pacers to win this basketball game. I think they'll cover the 2.5 points on the road as well in Orlando. Next up, we go on to the Boston Celtics going on the road to take on the Brooklyn Nets. For Boston, right? I mean, this is a team that they've got 3 losses now in the season. They just took their third one against the Atlanta Hawks. Shout out to Trae Young and the guys for coming through with that victory. Jaylen Brown put up, 38 points in that game, 37 points in that game against Atlanta. It was not enough. The Hawks went on the road to the TD Garden and won the basketball game 117-116. Again, that's the Celtics' third loss of the year, only after the Pacers loss and to the Warriors later on in the season. And now they'll get the Brooklyn Nets, a team that, again, has found themselves at 5th right now, or 6th in the Eastern Conference at 5-6. They're coming off a victory over the New Orleans Pelicans, a game that we really liked the other night. And again, Cam Thomas, only 17 points in that game, but Cam Thomas, the amount of big shots that guy makes on a nightly basis is absolutely insane. It feels like everybody on this Nets team can hit shots and hit big time shots of that as well. They can all knock down threes. They're just a good all-around basketball team, which is something that's very surprising to me. I mean, you get Cam Thomas, who's averaging 25 points a night. Dennis Schroeder is averaging 20 points a night. And then Cameron Johnson's averaging 17 points a night. Again, is this sustainable down the stretch of the season? Is this going to continue as the season moves on? Probably not. But for now, look at the Brooklyn Nets, man. They are killing it. It just, again, some nights it's Thomas, some nights it's Schroeder, some nights it's Johnson. But again, the Nets find ways to win basketball games. And they're doing this without Bogdanović as well, who's still injured. For the Celtics, again, we're picking them to beat the Brooklyn Nets, but this game being in Brooklyn makes me want to take the Nets plus 8.5, and that's exactly what we're going to do. The last time these two teams met was last Friday. It was a game in Boston. The Celtics won it, by 4 points, though, in an overtime against the Nets. So the Nets easily covered that. And the Nets, they are such a hard team to pick against in terms of the spread. If you get the Nets at anything over 6-7 points, take them immediately. Their shooting is too good to keep them in. Their shooting is too good to not keep them in basketball games. Again, I'm looking at Cam Thomas. I'm looking at Dennis Schroeder. These guys are going to keep them in games all season long. Again, will they be a playoff team? I don't know. But right now, they show the capability of potentially being a play-in team, and they're just one of these teams that are too good to get blown out on a consistent basis. So give me the Brooklyn Nets to cover the 8.5 points. I would expect Boston to win this game, but I don't mind Brooklyn at all in this spot. I just feel like 8.5 points is way too much. Next up, we go on to New York. We've got the New York Knicks taking on the Chicago Bulls. We were big on the Knicks last night in Philadelphia. Now we are taking the Bulls to cover the 8.5 points on them. Why? Because Chicago did not play yesterday and New York did. The Knicks had to play a tough game against the Philadelphia 76ers. And again, that game kind of went the way we thought it was going to go, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Paul George has finally stepped up into that number one role at the 76ers. But again, that's not going to be, that style of basketball is not going to continue to win you games. And I like Jared McCain a lot. Don't get me wrong. I'm a huge fan of Jared McCain. I am so glad that Jared McCain is balling on a consistent basis every night. I think Jared McCain might win the Rookie of the Year this season. Just looking at that race, I feel like that is probably Jared McCain's to lose right now, which is absolutely insane. But it's just a matter of time before Jared McCain, starts starting in front of Kyle Lowry with the 76ers. So again, shout out to Jared McCain. He's 20 years old. He's an absolute monster. But that game kind of went the way we thought it was going to go. Joel Embiid has not played in weeks. This is his first game of the season. He's not going to stroll right into this game with the New York Knicks and be dominant, and that's exactly what happened. Jalen Brunson didn't even have a big night. You got 24 out of OG Anunoby in 41 minutes. Karl-Anthony Towns at 38. And again, Tom Thibodeau just absolutely runs his guys into the ground, which it is what it is. But, look, the Knicks are winning basketball games. They really, truly run a six-man rotation. Let's just be honest. It's Miles Bridges. It's, Mikal Bridges. It's OG Anunoby. It's Karl-Anthony Towns. Jalen Brunson. It's Josh Hart. And it's Miles McBride. That's really that's their five-man rotation right now, or six-man rotation. It wins games, though. And sure, you'll get Campaign some minutes, you'll get Matt Ryan some minutes, and I assume with Mitchell Robinson and Precious Achiuwa coming back in the very near future, those guys are going to be intertwined in the rotation as well. But right now, Thibodeau's just running this little six-man rotation, and that's not sustainable to win games back-to-back in the NBA. Now, I think they'll beat the Bulls just because the Bulls are, suspect to say the least. Let's just be honest with ourselves. But I think the Bulls have a really good chance to win this game. I am taking the Knicks because the game is in the Garden. It's in New York, and the Bulls are so inconsistent. They've won one game in the last, week and a half. It's that win at Atlanta on Saturday night. But what I am doing is I'm taking the Bulls to cover the spread here. We're getting 8.5 on Chicago, a team that did not play yesterday against a team that just did play last night in the New York Knicks. And again, the Knicks are injured. They have a very short rotation, and that's why we're taking the Chicago Bulls to cover the 8.5 points here. It's just simply too many points for the Bulls. I don't know if Chicago wins the basketball game. I definitely think they have a chance, but they are certainly, I don't think, getting blown out by this many points, considering, again, New York just played in a game yesterday where they pretty much ran six guys the entire game. Give me the Chicago Bulls to cover the spread. This isn't really much of I like the Bulls pick, even though I am somewhat high on the Bulls. This is more the New York Knicks. Again, they are not in a position to blow anybody out tonight. Give me the Chicago Bulls to cover. I think the Knicks probably win, but I wouldn't bet that, obviously. I think the winner of this game is up in the air, but we definitely like Chicago to cover the spread. Next up, we go to Philadelphia. We got the Philadelphia 76ers taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, again, I think the 76ers team is going to continue to improve as the season progresses. I think they're a team that's, again, going to be in the postseason. They're going to be a team that, again, with their early struggles, they might find themselves in a play-in with the 8 seed, 7 seed, maybe even the 9 seed, but they're going to be one of those teams later on in the season where it's like, oh crap, you don't want to see Philadelphia in a 7-game series. You just don't. With, again, Joel Embiid is not going to continue to play as poorly as he did yesterday. Paul George finally had a big night for the 76ers, and if Paul George can get going, it's trouble. And then, Tyrese Maxey comes back in a couple weeks. And, Jared McCain is a very solid scorer at the NBA level, and now he can contribute in the starting lineup as well. It's a matter of time before Jared McCain starts starting over Kyle Lowry, and then this is your starting five in Philadelphia eventually. It's Jared McCain, who might be one of the best rookies in the draft, Tyrese Maxey, Paul George, Caleb Martin, Joel Embiid. That's a scary starting five at full strength and at full health. That is a scary proposition in Philadelphia. Again, it's going to take some time, don't get me wrong, because right now, again, with the injuries and whatnot, with Paul George just coming back, and again, Paul George is adapting to being a number one right now, or at least for the time being, and with Joel Embiid coming back, and again with Maxey, we'll see when he returns. It's going to take time. But right now, or down the stretch of the season, I do like Philadelphia a lot, and I think, again, a lot of that credit has to go to their rookie out of Duke and Jared McCain. Make as many jokes as you want about the guy, about his TikTok, about his dance. I mean, literally, he did he's dancing in the ice tub to Drake. It is what it is. It's all fun and games, but the guy can hoop. He's a baller. Again, I didn't know Jared McCain had that in him. I knew he was good. I watched him in college last season. The last 2 games that Jared McCain's played, I've been surprised, and I like Jared McCain a lot. So, you look what the 76ers get, though, tonight, and unfortunately for the 76ers, they run into the best team in the NBA. They run into the absolute best team in the league right now in the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavs are winning this game, guys. The Cavs are winning this game, and they're going to cover the 8.5 points. Why? Philadelphia played yesterday. Cleveland did not. I don't expect Joel Embiid to play the second half of a back-to-back. That's just not what he does. We'll see how they manage Paul George. They're going to get a big night out of Jared McCain, because that's what Jared McCain feels like he's just doing on this team now. Coming off the bench, averaging 30 minutes a night, but okay, maybe you can drop 30 on your head as well in those 30 minutes. The thing is, again, no Embiid probably, I would assume, the second night of a back-to-back. Even if he does play, they're going to load manage and just really watch his minutes very closely, so I wouldn't expect a huge night out of Embiid. And for the Cavaliers, again, the only undefeated team left in basketball. 12-0. Donovan Mitchell has his nights. Darius Garland has his nights. Again, this is the best team right now in the NBA, and they're going to continue to show why they're the best team in the NBA. They get Philly on the road tonight. I think they go to 13-0. And then you look down the stretch, Chicago, Charlotte, they have a real possibility and capability of starting the season 15-0. And then you go to Boston Tuesday night next week. We'll see. But for now, we're taking the Cleveland Cavaliers to go on the road to Philadelphia, win the game, and cover the 8.5 points as well. Next up, we go to the first of 2 ESPN games. You've got the Oklahoma City Thunder and the New Orleans Pelicans. Again, this is one of the ESPN games, and it is the biggest line on the entire night. The OKC Thunder are 14.5 point favorites in this game against the New Orleans Pelicans, and I understand why, because the Pelicans are just not good. They are the one team right now that is banned in terms of my, own personal reasons, just because they screwed us over up like 3-4 games in a row earlier on in the season. But they are banned. And again, you know how much we like the Oklahoma City Thunder. Okay, I've coined them the best team in basketball. Of course, no Chet Holmgren is going to be rough. It just is. Because, again, you look at what, Holmgren's a huge, addition, not addition, but he's a huge part of this team. They don't have a center, guys. Jalen Williams is playing center, and Jalen Williams, the former Santa Clara Broncos, 6'5". They don't have a true center with Isaiah Hartenstein still out. Of course, Chet Holmgren out for 8 weeks. They need to find a center somewhere. Just, the small ball is only going to take them so far. Now, the small ball is going to work against the Pelicans. I wouldn't expect, Yves Messi to take over the basketball game, or Daniel Theis for that matter. The Thunder are going to be fine playing small ball against the Pelicans. But as they move on with this schedule, I do get concerned. Yusef Nurkic, again, not a premier big in the league, but a guy who can certainly get it done. You have to deal with him. They're going to have to play Victor Wembanyama in a couple, in next week. Again, not like I'm too concerned about the Thunder beating the Spurs, but who the hell is going to guard Wemby on this team right now? Jalen Williams is going to guard Wemby? Wemby's a foot taller than him. That's when I get concerned. Right now, though, they're playing the piss-poor Pelicans. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, again, a superstar in this league. He just set his career high, 45 points in that game against his former squad in the Los Angeles Clippers on Monday night. But we really like the Thunder in this spot. I get it. 14.5 points is a lot. Trust me, I know. But the game's in OKC. The Thunder, again, are playing a piss-poor Pelicans team that is playing the worst basketball they've played all season right now. They are in shambles, obviously, with no Zion Williamson. No CJ McCollum tonight as well. Brandon Boston's a baller, I'll give you that. Brandon Boston can create his own shots, and he can hit difficult shots as well. But other than both Brandon Boston and Brandon Ingram, what the hell is going on in New Orleans right now? Give me the Thunder to dominate this basketball game. I feel like it should be over midway through the third quarter. And then, again, we're just watching, can the Thunder cover the spread? Again, personally, I wouldn't play it. I hate playing 14.5 just because, again, you're relying on a blowout, and anything can happen in the NBA because they play 82 regular season games. But if you have to press me on a pick, yeah, give me the OKC Thunder to cover the 14.5, simply because, yeah, the Pelicans are banned, and also we like the Thunder a lot, and we've liked the Thunder all season long as well. Give me OKC to win, and they will cover the 14.5 points as well. Next up, we go into Houston. We've got the Houston Rockets taking on the Los Angeles Clippers. Here's an upset pick. We like the Clippers to go to Houston and win. Again, I have just picked against the Rockets so many times this season. We didn't pick against them, though, in their last game, right? I said, you know what? No, I'm done hating on the Rockets. We're going to pick them to beat the Washington Wizards, and they did. But now we fade them. This run needs to come to an end eventually. Okay, I get they're only 7-4, right? But still, Houston Rockets are not that good, guys. They are going to start spiraling eventually. This is where it starts. Give me the Los Angeles Clippers. The Clippers are the better team in this game. They're 6-5 this season. They're coming off their loss to, again, the league's best in the Oklahoma City Thunder in their last game. But Norman Powell, again, has just, I don't know where this came from, but Norman Powell right now is playing like an all-star. He leads the Los Angeles Clippers in points with 26 a night. Obviously, you got Zubac and James Harden, and obviously, we are still waiting on Kawhi Leonard to eventually return. Eventually, I don't know when that will be, but Houston's playing good basketball. I will give them that. The Clippers are playing good basketball as well. The game's in Houston. This is a perfect spot that we can cash in on an underdog here. I'm going to be honest with you guys. The Rockets are kind of due for a loss. They have won 4 out of 5. Their only loss being to the Oklahoma City Thunder, and they got blown out in that game, right? They went on the road to OKC, and they got blown out. That's what happens when the Rockets play a really good basketball team. With, their game against the Warriors, that's what happens when they play a good basketball team. I get it, they came back at the end of that game, but still, and they did push it to overtime, but they still lost, and they were getting beat up for 3 quarters in that game. And I get it, they came back in the late in the third and in the fourth quarter, which you have to give them credit for that. I'm still not sold on Houston yet. I'm just not. Sengun, again, premier player in the league, dropped 27, 17, and 3 in that game over the Wizards. And yes, he led their team in assists as well with 3 assists, but 27, 17, and 3 led every single category, every single stat for the Rockets in that game over the Washington Wizards. I will give Sengun credit. He is a baller. The rest of the team doesn't move me all that much. I like Jalen Green, but again, the rest of the team, I'm still not convinced can consistently win. I like the Clippers more. I like Norman Powell. I like James Harden. I don't think the Clippers were expected to be this to start the season, but look at them now. I don't mind them as plus 4.5 dogs in this game, and I don't mind them on the money line as well, plus 165. Let's cash in on the juice here. We're taking the Los Angeles Clippers to go on the road to Houston and straight up win the game. You can keep your points. Give me the Clippers on the road. Next up, we go to Milwaukee. We've got the Bucks taking on the Detroit Pistons, and yes, we're taking the Pistons to beat the Bucks. I know. Guys, the Pistons are just one of these teams. They're a spoiler team. Both these teams played yesterday. They both won. The Pistons went out and beat the Miami Heat in overtime. Huge win for Detroit. And for the Milwaukee Bucks, they went out and beat the Toronto Raptors in a very low-scoring game. Might have been the first game all season where neither team reached 100 points. Milwaukee won that game 99-85. And we posed the question yesterday. Damian Lillard's out with the concussion. Who's going to be that next guy to step up behind Giannis Antetokounmpo? You know Giannis is going to get his points. Who's going to be next up? The answer to that was really nobody. I guess it was Bobby Portis with 17, but then you get 13 out of Brook Lopez, you get 12 out of Green, you get 12 out of Rollins, you get 9 out of Taurean Prince. Nobody stepped up yet for Milwaukee. And that's going to remain the case. Giannis right now, with no Dame, no Chris Middleton, doesn't have a true number 2. That is not a winning formula in the NBA because, again, the Greek Freak has to do everything right now for the Milwaukee Bucks. And the Pistons, for as much as they got clowned last season, they started the season this year 0-4. What have they done since then? They are 5-3, with their only losses being against the Knicks, the Hornets, and a buzzer beater, and the Houston Rockets. Cade Cunningham is playing amazing basketball right now. He is definitely on pace to be an all-star this season, but the supporting cast has gotten much better this season as well. They added guys like Tobias Harris, Malik Beasley, Tim Hardaway Jr., and again, Jaden Ivey, Jalen Duren. These guys are only improving as well. I like the Pistons in this game here. I really do. Again, it's because the Bucks are just playing with just Antetokounmpo, and just Giannis doesn't result winning. I'm going to be honest with you guys. That's the only guy they have playing tonight. No Dame, no Chris Middleton. That's why I like the Pistons to go on the road here and upset the Milwaukee Bucks. We've seen the Pistons upset some good teams before in the past. Never on the road, I'll be honest with you. But we're taking them here. Actually, they upset the Nets on the road in Brooklyn last week. I think they can go into Milwaukee and win this game. Again, the Bucks still struggle to find production outside of Antetokounmpo, and that's why the Pistons are winning this game with their collective team effort. Next up, we go to San Antonio. I don't got many talking points in this game. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. We're taking the Spurs to cover the 8.5 points at home. The Washington Wizards are just bad. Them and the Portland Trailblazers. And I get it, the Trailblazers, they beat the Timberwolves last night. I don't know how it happened. But And we're going to get to their rematch again in a second here because they played 2 nights in a row. And, are we going to fall into the trap again? Oh, I don't know. But the Washington Wizards are really bad, guys. They're just one of these teams that don't play competitive basketball games. I don't know how they beat the Hawks twice, but they did. They beat Atlanta in back-to-back games on the October 28th and October 30th, and they have not played a game in which they've come within 10 points since. A 20-point loss to the Heat, a 13-point loss to the Golden State Warriors, a 24-point loss to the Memphis Grizzlies, a 27-point loss to the Orlando Magic. Yes, did my math right. And a 15-point loss to the Houston Rockets. That's trouble. The San Antonio Spurs are not playing lights-out basketball, but you know what they did their last game? They beat the Sacramento Kings, and they beat them by 20 points. All right, Victor Wembanyama put up 34 and 14. Chris Paul with 11 assists as well. When Wemby's on, he is on. Wembanyama's going to feast against this Wizards team. He just is. You're going to see that Wemby-Alex Sarr matchup, which should be interesting, but I'd expect Wembanyama to dominate, and I'd expect the Spurs to dominate as well. Again, the problem for the Washington Wizards is they don't play close basketball games. And with the exception of those 2 wins over the Hawks, their only wins all season, they have not played a competitive game. Because even those 2 games before the Hawks' victories, 20-point loss to the Celtics, 19-point loss to the Cavaliers. The Wizards don't play competitive basketball, and until we see them play a competitive game, I'm not going to pick them. And guess what? The Hawks can get their get back on Friday. So, yeah, I'm not picking the Wizards. Give me the Spurs to win the basketball game, and I think they'll cover the 8.5 points as well. Next up, we move on to Los Angeles. You got the Los Angeles Lakers. It's the second of the 2 ESPN games. The Los Angeles Lakers taking on the Memphis Grizzlies. So again, these 2 teams met earlier on in the season in the FedEx Forum in Memphis, Tennessee. The big difference, though, from that game to this game is no Ja Morant. And I get it. The Trailblazers, we'll get to that Trailblazers-Grizzlies game, but the Grizzlies have been playing well without Ja Morant. I understand that. I watched them play the Portland Trailblazers in person at the Moda Center in Portland a couple nights ago, and I couldn't believe my eyes watching the way that the Memphis Grizzlies shot the 3 ball that night. And sure, the Portland Trailblazers started that game 1 for 25 shooting the 3, and they ended up finishing with a 9% 3-point rate. The Grizzlies knocked down 3-pointers at a 37% rate in that game, but it really felt like 50, at least in terms of the first half. They were dominating the glass over the Portland Trailblazers in that one as well. They were just shooting the ball at a much more effective clip. And Jaren Jackson, man, I didn't know Jaren Jackson could sink threes like that. Again, he went 3 for 7, but he had a stretch where he knocked down 3 straight threes and 3 straight consecutive possessions for Memphis. And I was impressed. Really, again, this Grizzlies team can shoot. Everyone kind of on this team can get hot at any point. The problem is, though, for the Lakers at least, because the Lakers don't play the best defense, but it's been improved with JJ Redick. And now I'd expect the Lakers to beat up on the Grizzlies here. Again, the Lakers don't like Memphis. They just never have, dating back to their postseason series 2 years ago. And obviously now you got the whole issue. I know Ja's not playing, but Ja pushing LeBron at their last game last Wednesday. Again, I guess a week ago from today. The Lakers are going to be more than motivated to win this basketball game. They will be. I don't know if Anthony Davis is going to be playing or not. AD is questionable. We will see if Anthony Davis will get the start tonight and give it a go. If he does, we like the Lakers even more. Okay, so here, AD cleared to play, and he plans to play on Wednesday despite the eye injury. Okay, AD's playing. That means we love the Los Angeles Lakers in the spot. They're 6-4 again. Back-to-back victories over the 76ers and the Raptors. The Lakers have been playing great basketball at home this season. They are still yet to lose a game at home this year. They are 5-0 at home. They are 1-4 on the road. The only win on the road being up in Canada against the Raptors. Again, the Lakers have not lost at home this season. I would not expect this one to be the first. I think they dominate the Grizzlies here. The Grizzlies have had 3 really great nights back-to-back shooting. I think eventually it comes to an end, and I think it comes to an end right now. So give me the Los Angeles Lakers to win this game at home. LeBron, AD, Austin Reeves played a phenomenal basketball game. Man, Reeves was balling in that one on Sunday night against the Toronto Raptors. Some of those moves AR was making to the hoop, I was impressed, and I was shocked the way Austin Reeves was playing that game. The way that Austin Reeves was playing against the Toronto Raptors. We like the Lakers a lot. They're building momentum, and they still haven't lost at home this season. Give me the Lakers to win. They'll cover the 6.5 points as well on ESPN. Next up, we go to the Minnesota Timberwolves taking on the Portland Trailblazers. There's no way, no how the Trailblazers lose back-to-back. The Timberwolves lose back-to-back to the Portland Trailblazers. It's not happening. It's simply put, not happening. Guys, it's no way, no how. Can't happen. And I get it. Last time I said a team's not losing back-to-back games to the Trailblazers, it was the New Orleans Pelicans. So this is what I am saying, and I am imploring to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Do not make me ban you. I'm serious. I don't want to ban the Timberwolves. But if they lose back-to-back games to the Blazers, and on top of that, their loss on Sunday against the Miami Heat, that's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. So what went wrong for the Timberwolves in their game against Portland? The Trailblazers just caught fire, something they couldn't do the night before. They went from shooting 9% from beyond the arc to 58% beyond the arc. It just doesn't make sense to me. Kamara shot the ball lights out. Shaedon Sharpe, Jeremy Grant, Denny. I mean, everyone shot the ball really well. Scoot Henderson did as well. That's more, again, the loss last night for the Timberwolves. Ant had an off night. He's not going to have, back-to-back off nights, I don't think. But that loss for the Timberwolves was, I think, one, the Trailblazers playing their hearts out and playing the best game they played all season personally. Two, in-season tournament game, they're trying really hard to win that game because, again, they want to make it, again, far in the in-season tournament this year. And three, again, the Timberwolves just didn't have their best night. It's not going to happen again. I don't think it will. Again, I wouldn't bet the spread in this game just because, again, they just played last night. A lot of things can happen, but I would not expect the Timberwolves to lose back-to-back games to the Trailblazers, and I just don't think the Trailblazers are able to keep up that same offensive output, and again, shooting that well like they did last night, I don't think it happens in back-to-back games. I just don't think it does. Same matchup, the Trailblazers should be able to, the Timberwolves should be able to fix up a couple things, and I do like Minnesota to go on the road, win the game against the Trailblazers at the Moda Center, and they will cover the line as well. As we go on to the nightcap, you've got the Sacramento Kings at the Golden One Center in Sacramento, California, hosting the Phoenix Suns. So no Kevin Durant, obviously, for this game, right? Yeah, no KD, no Nurkic. That's fine. We're still taking the Suns to cover the spread. It's 7.5. We like them to cover that. Now, we thought that game against the Jazz last night was mispriced. I don't care who is injured for the Phoenix Suns. They are still going to go to Utah and win that basketball game, and that's exactly what they did. Again, no Kevin Durant, no Yusef Nurkic, no problem. Phoenix covered the line easily. It was 3.5. They ended up winning the game by 8 points. Again, we said D-Book's going to step up. Bradley Beal's going to step up. And Devin Booker, again, rose to the occasion. He dropped 31 points. And shout out to Mason Plumlee as well, with 14 boards in that game for the Suns as well. The Suns now get the Sacramento Kings second half of a back-to-back. I don't think they beat the Kings, but I think they are able to keep it within 7.5. So I think they are able to lose the game by about 5 points. I just feel like Phoenix is too good to lose the game by that many points. I get it, the injuries, and they just did lose to Phoenix at home by 9 points in overtime, but that was a competitive game that the Kings just kind of ran away with in overtime. In regulation, again, the Suns were very tight with the Kings. They were very competitive in that basketball game, and I get it. The Kings have the much better starting lineup, especially with the injuries to Phoenix right now. But again, we said it about Sacramento's last game against the Spurs. Their depth right now is lacking. They have no depth right now because of the injuries to Malik Monk, right? The injury to Malik Monk, that's kind of only their main injury. But again, Sacramento's bench is kind of weak as it is, and Malik Monk really provides that boost for that second unit, and him not being on the court or him not substituting in really does hurt the Sacramento Kings. That's why I think Phoenix is able to cover the 7.5 points, because I don't think Sacramento's just able to get that distance and get away from Phoenix by that many points in, again, with their second unit. I think Phoenix is able to stay competitive in this basketball game. Obviously, Sacramento's got the better lineup, better starting lineup. We talk about them all the time with De'Aaron, Herter, DeRozan, Keegan, Sabonis, but I don't think they're able to cover the 7.5 points. I think Sacramento gets a much-needed win at home here after their loss last game to the San Antonio Spurs, but I do like the Phoenix Suns to cover the spread with the 7.5 points. I don't care who's injured. D-Book and Bradley Beal are going to find a way, and even hell, Miles Plumlee are going to find a way to keep them competitive in this basketball game. Mason Plumlee, not Miles. Mason Plumlee. They're going to find a way to keep Phoenix competitive in this basketball game. They're not going to win it, but they will be able to cover the 7.5 points. We're taking Sacramento in the final game of the night, but we're taking the Phoenix Suns again to cover the spread. Keep that game closer than what it was last week. So folks, thank y'all for watching our daily NBA predictions here for November 13th. If you have not yet though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you do disagree with any of the picks. We'll be back tomorrow for more daily NBA predictions, but there's only one game tomorrow, Dallas and Utah. I'm not gonna lie, guys, we are going to include that in our college basketball predictions tomorrow. There's only one game. I'll do 10 best bets or 9 best bets for college basketball, and then we'll do a best bet for the Mavericks Jazz game. It's the only game tomorrow, so that's what we're gonna do. We'll do the 10 best bets video for college basketball, and then just throw in the NBA prediction as well with the Mavs and the Jazz. That's fair, I feel like. So folks, thank y'all for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment. If you do disagree with any of the picks, folks, thank y'all for watching. And Mamba forever.